Good morning, YouTube. Today is Wednesday, March 12th, I think. Maybe it's the 13th. Can't remember. We're on our way to do a wellhead extension. I'm flying solo today. Ian and Max are working on wrapping up a air conditioning job that we have going on in the town of Newburgh. So I'm going to go extend this well casing for a good friend of ours, Lynn Warren Landscaping. Going to get a pitless adapter installed, and we're going to try to show the process best we can. Hope you enjoy. We are starting off our day with a little morning supply house run at Rim Plumbing and Heating Supply in Newburgh, New York, a family-owned and operated business just like us. Right now, you'll see me using a piece of 1-inch copper as a support for my laser. I met with the excavator the day before, and he ran me through where the finished grade was supposed to be. I'll shoot a beam at that exact point and make sure my well casing is at least that tall. I added 24 inches to that measurement so that the guys can cut the casing down at the end if they so choose. Up next is to take my angle grinder with a 4-inch wire wheel and clean up the outside of the existing casing. This is 6-inch casing, and I'm going to be using 6-inch Schedule 40 PVC to extend it above the finished grade. I want to make sure I have a good solid joint, so I'm making sure everything is nice and clean. I'm going to use a 4-band stainless Husky clamp to make sure that everything is good and solid. So this is an artesian well, and what that means is that the aquifer in the ground is yielding so much water that it actually overflows out of the top of the casing. I know nothing about this well, so I want to make sure that there's not any existing equipment already installed in there before I go putting in an additional pitless adapter. So because I can't see into the well because it's yielding so much water, I have to pump it down with my M18 cordless transfer pump. So here you'll see the water going out onto the ground so I can get a better look. We pumped the well casing down 10 feet just to be 100% sure there's not already a pitless adapter installed. There is not, kind of like I thought, so now we can start putting our 6-inch PVC on top, marking everything, cutting our hole, and keep on keeping on. Like I said earlier, the material I'm using to extend the casing is 6-inch Schedule 40 PVC. It's bright white pipe with a laser beam that's in bright sunshine with not a single cloud in the sky. So right here, you'll see me trying to find the beam. I ended up finding it by basically putting my body in front of the sun to try to shadow it. And you'll see me marking where the beam is right there. And that is my finished grade. So from that line, I'm going to add 2 feet and cut it. Okay, this is your typical pitless adapter. It's a pretty ingenious invention. This particular one is 1-inch iron pipe size. They also make them in 1.25 and maybe other sizes as well. Just as the name suggests, pitless, it allows for service of the well without having to bury it under the ground like they used to do years and years ago. It has 2 female ends, one of which is on basically what I would call a slip joint, which allows the well pump and pipe to be completely removed from the casing. The other side is permanently affixed to the well casing and allows more poly pipe to snake inside the house to the well tank. The removable part of the pitless adapter locks into the stationary part, kind of like a mortise and tenon if you're familiar with woodworking. Once it's fully inserted and seated, they can't fall out or move. The removable part does have an O-ring, which makes the seal and allows the water to travel up from the aquifer and into the house without any leaks. I installed this in the PVC because we are quite a bit below our 4-foot minimum depth. So to bring this up to 4 feet even, I marked and drilled my hole, And to keep this straight so that you can get the key in there, I used my well key, which is a homemade piece of 1-inch iron pipe with male threads on this end here. I threaded it in and just made sure that it was centered inside the pipe. Basically what that's going to allow me to do is make sure that when it comes time to put the pump in, we can catch the threads on the opposite side and remove the pitless adapter from the well casing. So we have our mark for our finished grade right there. I measured 2 feet above that. It could be cut down more later if need be, but I'm going to cut the 10-foot piece to 6-inch so it's a little bit less unwieldy. I'll drop it into place and snug it up with the no-hub band, or with the Husky band, I should say. So here we go. Let's try to cut this as straight as I can. Pretty good. You can't really see, but when I installed the rubber portion of the 6-inch Husky band, I folded it on top of itself, basically in half. And what that allows me to do is slide the PVC in and unfold the rubber, which you saw me do a few seconds ago, and it won't fight me on install. A little recap for you. This was slightly more difficult with one person than I anticipated, but it wasn't bad. Holding a 8-foot piece of 6-inch PVC steady while you're trying to get it level and everything and slide the band over and all that stuff is kind of a pain, but we got it done. I should have slid the band over the well casing that was existing first, then put my pipe on. Then I could have just slid this up and zipped a couple of the straps so that the pipe would stay steady, but hindsight is 20/20. Got the new pitless adapter in. The person who does this house, which may be us, maybe not, will thread their adapters in there and down there, and they'll drop their pump in to the set depth, which I have no idea how well guys figure that out. I don't know anything about this well. I just know that there's a casing in the ground. So this is all good. You can see that we are nice and plumb, both this way, switch hands here, and this way. I was gonna support this with a 2x4, but the distance between this bank and this bank is bigger than my 10-foot 2x4 that I brought, but it's really solid. It's not going anywhere, and the excavator that we use knows exactly what to do. He'll backfill carefully. He's gonna sleeve this with 12-inch corrugated so that the bucket doesn't nick this pitless adapter when it gets dug up again, because it will have to be dug up again. And we'll mark it so that the next guy knows where this is. Laser trick worked okay. It figures as soon as I set up the tripod and all that stuff, the sun is facing directly into the beam. So I had to shadow it a little bit, but our finished grade is this line, which lines up with the line. You can kind of see it. It's like right there. That's where the dirt is going to be. So we have plenty of casing above grade. They can cut it later if they'd like to. And then 4 feet from our finished grade mark is, below our frost line, which is right here. So this is safe from freezing up in our area. Up north more, their frost line is deeper, but where we are, it's 4 feet. This is a B-roll clip of me installing the rubber portion of the Husky band because I'm notoriously bad at recording the closing portions of the video when I'm on site. I just wanted to use this opportunity to say thank you guys so much for watching our videos. I never even thought we'd have 100 subscribers, let alone almost 1,300 now. The viewers, the comments, the engagement is all greatly appreciated. Thank you.